Charge! Defeat that demon. The soldiers' hoarse battle cries echoed continuously in Lion's ears. The alliance of humans and orcs united for one purpose, to eliminate a single man. They called him the Pale Demon, Nox. This was the final battle for the peace of this land. Defeat that accursed demon. The words left by Lion's once closest friend. He remembered them clearly, though he didn't fully understand their hidden meaning. One thing was certain in Lion's heart. When Nox spoke those ominous words, he saw tears of sorrow rolling down from his downcast eyes. Can you tell me why you betrayed us? What drove you to make a pact with the devil? Things have come to this point. Is there still any need to say anything? Perhaps these questions mean nothing to you, but they're important to me. Why did you abandon us? If you want answers from me, then come and kill me. Use your power to get what you want. Nox remained unwilling to reveal the truth. Lion gave up, saying in disappointment, if this is truly what you wish, then let me send you on your final journey. Come forth, my servants! With Lion's summoning, a horde of undead legions charged toward the enemy. Nox unleashed countless brilliant sword strikes against the undead, wounding all the undead soldiers. However, the undead soldiers' wounds were immediately healed by Lion's death energy. He then immediately commanded them to attack again. But these attacks were easily deflected by Nox. The next second, the soldiers were cut into pieces by him and completely annihilated. His cold eyes looked at the corpses on the ground without a trace of emotion. Then he walked toward Lion step by step. The next second, his long sword was enveloped in demonic energy. Then he quickly rushed toward Lion. How surprising, you've grown stronger. Lion immediately activated necromantic magic again. A huge black hole appeared behind him. Accompanied by the rotation of a magic circle, a massive arm emerged from the black hole. A colossal undead warrior blocked his path. However, Nox showed no fear, accelerating his assault once more. Countless clouds of dust obscured Lion's vision. The next second, Nox appeared above him, raising his sword to strike down. Just as the blade was about to hit Lion, his undead warrior steadily blocked the attack. If the only way I can learn from you now is to kill you, then transform you into an undead creature to find out why my once so familiar dear friend has become what he is today. Then let you become a permanent member of my undead legion. The greatest tragedy in the world is watching your most beloved father on the execution platform, while being powerless to do anything about it. Even more despairing than this is when the executioner is yourself, his son. How did things develop to this point? People below the platform murmured among themselves. What did the master do to deserve such humiliation? Watch your words, or you'll be next up there. Don't you know how cruel those bastards are? The only thing we can do is shut up and do nothing. Now that war has swept across the entire continent. Ordinary people like us have no choice but to stay quiet like dead rats. During wartime, once the bloody embers shroud the entire eastern continent, the deadly fire will refuse to be extinguished. The once high and mighty Marbas family was framed by rival families in the chaos of war. Fate was destined to pay a heavy price. The strong do as they please, the weak steal to survive. Unlike the strong, the weak risk their lives every day, ultimately dancing with death in one way or another. Let the performance begin. However, looking at his father on the execution platform, Lion stood there motionless, just watching. Count Alan from the rival family spoke coldly. What does this mean? Didn't you hear my command? Lion's entire body trembled continuously. He held a short sword and slowly moved forward, coming to the execution platform. Before him was the thread connecting his father's life. What are you waiting for? Cut the rope, child. Count Alan issued the command again. Upon receiving the command, Lion's body automatically raised the short sword like a marionette. The rope before him magnified continuously in his vision. Everyone below the platform was shocked. The man who gave the command stood up excitedly, because the boy had cut the rope. The truth in the darkness was, the deadly sound was no different from a butcher's cleaver cutting meat on a chopping board. Several drops of fresh blood splattered onto Lion's pale face. Tears mixed with blood slid down his cheeks. Fate descended upon him in the cruelest way, severing all connections with his father. Lion von Marbas is the son of the late Rune von Marbas, the executioner who killed his own father. In the end, Lion became the family's sole heir, 14 years old this year. Yet he must shoulder all the responsibilities bestowed by the clan leader. The Marbas family elders argued heatedly. Now the Sylvester family's sphere of influence is expanding daily. No one knows when they will directly invade Marbas territory. I believe we must strengthen our defenses. I implore the clan leader to make a decision immediately. Lion responded indifferently. I'm sorry, I haven't thought it through yet. Please give me a little more time. I hope you can be patient. After saying this, Lion left the meeting room. The Marbas family was once a powerful necromancer family, but their former glory had long since vanished in the river of history. Lion came before his parents' portraits, contemplating the path forward. He knew full well that his dead parents could not possibly respond, yet he continued to pour out his troubles to the portraits. How can I restore the family's honor? At this moment, Leon came to a large door. Above the door was a portrait of a handsome man. This was the family's founder, also the continent's only necromancer at the time. It was said that the founder was renowned on battlefields, but his descendants grew weaker with each generation. Until now, the Marbas family had fallen into decline. Lion silently opened the door and walked in, coming to the desk where he saw two books on the table. One was the family's chronicles. Wellen von Marbus, a man infinitely close to godhood with just a wave of his hand. The undead legions he summoned swept toward enemies like a storm. He conquered the entire eastern region in just 2 months. It was said that Wellen von Marbas made some kind of agreement with demons, unlocking one of the continent's greatest mysteries. The demon granted Wellen the right to rule the continent through the terrifying Book of the Dead. The other book on the desk was precisely the Book of the Dead. Wellen led the entire family to become the continent's only necromancer family. Just as Lion opened the Book of the Dead, a voice rang out, "Listen to me, young clan leader of this generation." The sudden voice immediately made Lion extremely nervous. "Do not be afraid, my child, I pose no threat to you or your family." The next second, a red magic circle suddenly appeared behind Lion. When Lion came to his senses, he had arrived in a mysterious space, and before him stood a terrifying giant beast. What's going on here? At this moment, the giant beast pointed at itself with its claw. "Didn't your predecessor tell you of my existence? You mean my father?" "Yes, I can sense that my magical connection with him has been severed. I've long believed he was unfit to be the master here. I should have known he would die young. Tell me, child, who killed your father?" "If you're asking about the murderer, it was me. Leon von Marbas, his son." These words instantly enraged the giant beast. A terrifying aura swept toward Lion. "I ask you again, did you kill the one I swore loyalty to? It was me. I am the one who personally killed my father. And this Marbas is the Black Marbas, one of the 72 demons of hell. As a demon, he betrayed his own race's forces, choosing to coexist with humans, becoming the strongest partner of the family founder Wellen. Seeing the little one before him, Marbas immediately activated his secret technique and saw the truth of Leon's patricide. This little one is filled with despair, and hidden beneath the surface is a darkness that can devour everything. His entire body continuously emanates the aura of death. He's a natural necromancer. How is this possible? This child's talent even exceeds that of his ancestors. Although every descendant of the family has necromantic blood flowing through their veins, the reason most clan leaders cannot use necromantic magic is their talent is too poor. They cannot become suitable vessels. To this day, no one in the Marbas family has been able to reach Wellen's heights. This is the real reason for the entire family's decline. Can I ask you for a favor? A favor? I don't do favors. Favors only benefit one party while the other suffers losses. As a demon, I only make deals. Marbas was quite disdainful. Lion firmly stated, "Fine, then let's make a contract. Grant me supreme power." "Are you sure you have such talent?" Marbas maintained a doubtful attitude on the surface, but knew in his heart of the boy's exceptional gifts. "If I were a talentless laborer, I would never be allowed to speak with such a proud demon as yourself. It's said that ordinary people who converse with demons suffer from illusions, and eventually lose their lives." Lion was very confident, he continued. "Considering that I have no discomfort right now, that means I at least have some talent. I consider myself not stupid. Perhaps I can give you some compensation in return." Hearing this, Marbas was stunned, then suddenly burst into laughter. "Then let us make a contract, young lord of necromancer bloodline." "What price must I pay?" Lion asked coldly. "The price is everything you have." Marbas showed a fierce expression. Hearing this, Lion slowly smiled. "That suits me perfectly. I'm willing to give everything I have." The next moment, a magical thread flowed between both parties. As the contractor, Lion must constantly provide magical power to the demon. However, Lion's current magical reserves are insufficient. Marbas very considerately stated, "To reduce your magical consumption, I need to change how I stay by your side." With a snap of his fingers, he was shrouded in darkness. The next second, he transformed into a cute small beast. "This way I can maintain minimum magical consumption. You look really cute now." Hearing this, little Marbas became furious. "Say that again and I'll show you what regret means. If you understand, prepare to depart." "Depart? Where are we going?" Lion was somewhat confused. "Don't you want to gain power that rivals your ancestor? To reach such heights, the fastest way is to retrace his footsteps. The primary goal is your family's hidden sanctuary." Soon they arrived at the back mountain of the Marbas family. This place is only accessible to clan leaders. Only by passing the sanctuary's trials would Lion be granted power. And only those with the purest black magical power can clear the path to the temple. As the magic activated, the hidden passage appeared before Lion. When he approached, the trial began. Little Marbas nearby could not provide any assistance. At this moment in the meeting room, several family elders were still discussing the future. "You should all see that our current clan leader simply cannot lead us to prosperity. Before we're destroyed by rival families. As the clan leader's uncle, I've decided to become temporary steward, taking over all family affairs." His decision was agreed upon by most present. Only one person objected. However, under the other's threats, this person compromised. He helplessly stated, "Please forgive this powerless subordinate." Meanwhile, in the sanctuary, as the trial began, the Book of the Dead emitted brilliant light, guiding Lion toward the correct path. After walking for a while, he encountered the first test. Green flames lit up on the passage walls, several strong goblins appeared before him, with a bound woman beneath them. At this moment, the Book of the Dead automatically returned to Lion's hands. Then it automatically flipped to a certain page, beginning to display text, leaving guidance for those who come after, to maximize the Book of the Dead's potential. The first spell, King's Resurrection, begins with slaughter. Seeing this, Lion looked confused. At this moment, the goblins across from him also charged forward. Lion immediately drew his short sword. Facing the first goblin that came at him, Lion calmly dodged. Then he swung his short sword, slashing at the opponent's neck, successfully defeating one. Somehow, one of the green flames on the wall was extinguished. The other goblins immediately surrounded Leon. With his current strength, it was difficult to handle so many goblins at once. He had to defeat them one by one, so he quickly circled behind one goblin, then raised his sword to stab, successfully defeating another one. Another flame was extinguished. The goblin closest to him angrily charged with a knife. Lion quickly retreated, dodging the attack. Then he gripped the sword in reverse, slashing at the opponent's neck. However, at this moment, another goblin appeared before Lion. He quickly threw his short sword. The sword light grazed the opponent's cheek, leaving only a shallow wound. Taking advantage of the opponent's distraction, Lion immediately moved to the side, circling around the goblin, reaching down to grab the short sword on the ground. Then when the opponent turned around showing an opening, he immediately raised his sword and thrust it into the opponent's chest. Just like that, he successfully defeated all the goblins, then walked toward the bound woman. When Lion removed the rope from the woman's mouth, tears of gratitude flowed from her eyes. Thank you so much. However, just as the woman was overjoyed, Lion pierced her chest with one sword thrust. The girl's eyes widened in disbelief. Why? How did you figure it out? I just remembered advice my father once gave me. Never trust anyone easily. Some monsters deceive others by mimicking humans. With Lion's finishing blow, the monster disguised as a human died completely. I hate creatures like you the most. With the death of the last monster, the remaining flames on the walls were all extinguished. However, before long, yellow flames lit up around them. Unbelievable. I've never seen such a crazy contractor in my lifetime. Little Marbas excitedly pounced directly on Lion. How did you distinguish that she was a monster in disguise? Ordinary people can't detect any difference about her. Yet you stabbed her the moment you saw her? How did you do it? When we stepped in here, I noticed the flames here were different colors from other places. I recognized it. It's the shadow of the undead. Each time a monster was defeated, one green flame would be extinguished. After I defeated all the goblins, there was still one flame that hadn't been extinguished. That's when I knew the woman before me was also one of the monsters. So terrifyingly calm. Is this something a 14-year-old child can do? Marbas admired in his heart. Perhaps he not only possesses the talent for enormous magical reserves, but may also hide something truly special. Now that Welland's first test is complete, let's proceed to the next assessment. The Book of the Dead displayed text again. Next, you must raise the fallen. Seeing this text, Lion was initially puzzled. Then seeing the goblin corpses on the ground, he instantly understood. This is asking me to summon the undead? Correct. Gaze upon the goblins you killed with your eyes. Then concentrate your magical power in your eyes. Maximize your pupil power. This way, you'll see a death line on each corpse. Crossing the boundary of death, we call it the death line. Connect them to the Book of the Dead. Then use the death lines to link souls from this world to another. Necromancers separate the lingering souls of the dead from their bodies. Then by combining the souls with the necromancer, they inject new life, forming a new race, the undead, and marking them with their own brand. This is the simplest method of creating undead servants. Now, you can try controlling them. At this moment, Lion stood up. Before that, I have something I want to ask you. My father once told me, turning a human into an undead is more complex than turning a monster into an undead servant. Do you think I've reached the point where I can turn humans into undead? Hearing this, little Marbas showed a wicked smile. Which unfortunate fellow. Kerschel von Marbas, my only uncle. Lion's eyes held no trace of familial affection. At this moment in the family banquet hall, Uncle Kerschel was holding a party for himself, secretly pleased. Before long, this entire family will be firmly in my grasp. Sir Kerschel, what do you plan to do about clan leader Lion? The servants in the manor are extremely loyal to his father. A lackey struck up conversation with him. I don't think it needs to be that complicated. Just make his death seem reasonable. Dead men don't speak, and neither will his son. Kerschel's eyes revealed viciousness. Cheers to our next true clan leader. These scoundrels thought the clan leader position was within their grasp, but just then, the chandelier overhead suddenly fell, crashing directly in front of them. Just as everyone wondered what was happening, Lion suddenly appeared from behind the curtains. But Kerschel looked down on him, speaking contemptuously, "Oh, it's you, our young clan leader." At this moment, several guards were already standing behind Kerschel. You still acknowledge me as this family's clan leader? So what brings the clan leader here so late? Nighttime can be quite dangerous. Don't worry, I can protect myself now. Lion's words carried no warmth. You don't think I really came here alone, do you? Hearing this, Kerschel immediately became alert. Then, the ground beneath his feet began to shake, with streams of black energy continuously emerging. This isn't ordinary magic. I sense a darkness that mortals cannot touch. Could this be necromantic magic? His heart filled with disbelief. 4 undead emerged from the ground. This is my undead legion. How is this possible? Even my late brother couldn't master this power. Kerchal immediately ordered his subordinates to attack Lion. Just as one was about to strike Lion, an undead warrior quickly broke the weapon in his hand, then raised his sword in a single strike, cutting him in half. Kerchal's subordinates were no match for the undead warriors. Before long, he had lost several subordinates. Now Kerchal began to panic. Why is this happening? This is completely abnormal. He began questioning Lion. How did you manage to control the undead? Lion looked at him like an idiot. As the clan leader of Marbas, isn't controlling the undead normal? Kerchal raged helplessly. Necromantic magic should have been lost long ago. Even your father never used it. Are you so unwilling to face reality? Then let me prove it to you with action. Uncle Kerchal, look carefully. This is the necromantic magic I've learned. Lion extended his hand, controlling the undead warrior to charge at Kerchal. Kerchal immediately conjured a dark orb in his hand, then threw it at the undead warrior, hitting all targets. The undead warrior's skin began to crack. Stark white bones became visible. His eyes became hollow. But the next second, flames ignited in the undead warrior's eyes again as he continued charging at Kerchal. Kerchal was terrified by this sight, frantically trying to call for help from his subordinates behind him, but was horrified to discover that the 2 who had been standing behind him were already dead. With no choice, Kerchal conjured another dark orb, firing it at the undead warrior. However, such attacks had no effect on them whatsoever. Just as Kerchal was about to flee, the fastest undead warrior had already reached him, stabbing him in the chest with one blow. Now he didn't even have the strength to conjure dark orbs. I'm your own uncle, you can't kill me, Kerchal threatened Lion. The entire family won't allow it. I'm sorry, but someone as emotionally lacking as myself only knows that forgiveness is the victor's privilege. You were once a victor too. When you stabbed my father in the back, did you think there would be today's consequences? I will remember this day forever. As punishment for you, I will make you lose your ambition to see the light again. After saying this, Lion ordered all the undead warriors to attack. Your performance is even better than I expected. Little Marbas suddenly appeared. Your proficiency in controlling the undead doesn't seem like that of a beginner at all. At this moment, Lion's eyes revealed a hint of cunning. I just thought of an interesting idea. The scene shifted to the meeting room the next day. Everyone was confused about being suddenly called to a meeting. They all wondered if Sir Kerchal had another major announcement. However, instead of Kerchal appearing, clan leader Lion walked in. Are you waiting for Uncle Kerchal? I regret to inform you all that he cannot attend this meeting, because he has died, and I personally did it. Lion's tone still carried no warmth. These words immediately shocked everyone. The meeting room became dead silent, terrifyingly quiet. Does anyone have any questions? Shouldn't you give us an explanation? Why did you kill the family's eldest elder? Because he was a traitor. He not only betrayed my father, but also passed important intelligence to our enemy, the Sylvester family. He even tried to assassinate me, wanting to usurp the clan leader position. Lion emanated an aura of unquestionable authority. Isn't this reason enough to execute him? You all seem to be strongly defending him. Are you his accomplices? Damn it! Could what this little guy is saying be true? Everyone's attitudes began to waver. Kerchal was actually killed by such a little brat. Damn it, this isn't the time to consider Kerchal. Since that cunning old fox Kerchal could fail, it means Lion might have mastered some powerful force. If no one takes a stance now, I feel everyone is in danger. Thinking this, a man immediately stood up. That damned Kerchal actually committed such crimes. The clan leader has rid our family of a great harm. The blonde man also immediately caught on. He quickly rose to express his ignorance of Kerchal's crimes. Only the bald man raised questions. Is Sir Kerchal really a traitor? Does the clan leader have evidence? Lion became interested at this point. Evidence? Then let me show you the evidence you want. Speaking thus, he immediately activated necromantic magic. The entire meeting room filled with black magical energy. I, Lion von Marbas, true heir of the family, summon the undead wandering in this world. Immediately, several undead warriors were summoned from the ground around them. Seeing the undead warriors surrounding the meeting room, everyone began to panic, trying to escape. However, someone stood motionless. What are you doing? Run quickly. When the green-clothed man looked over, he discovered the other was already decapitated, falling straight to the ground. The green-clothed man looked at the scene in terror, while the blonde man trembled as he knelt on the ground, crawling to Lion to beg for his forgiveness. This meeting has just begun. Then Lion commanded undead Kerchal to walk toward everyone. Who here doesn't know of your crimes? Kerchal spoke in a low voice. Everyone here knows. We all betrayed the previous clan leader together. Very good. Now the remaining few were completely panicked, all opening their mouths to beg for the male lead's forgiveness. However, it was too late for them to regret now. The next second, everyone lay in pools of blood. I, Leon von Marbas, hereby declare the ancient hell of necromantic magic once again echoes in the family's halls, like ghostly light in the dark night, rekindling memories deep in the bloodline. The scene shifted to the family's dungeon. Sir Pullen, imprisoned here, immediately knelt when he saw the clan leader. Please forgive your incompetent retainer. I failed to detect Kershaw's ambitions from the beginning, nearly letting him harm the clan leader. Sir Pullen, one of the few loyal retainers of the Marbas family, also the only one who openly opposed Kershaw. To revitalize the family, he was indispensable talent. Lion immediately helped him up. I need you, he earnestly asked Pullen. There are many family matters that need your handling. Are you willing to assist me? Hearing this, Sir Pullen's eyes immediately moistened, overwhelmed with emotion. I, Pullen, hereby swear eternal loyalty to you. After letting Sir Pullen return to wash up, the two came to the meeting room again to discuss plans for the family's future progress. Lion decided to disguise himself as Kershaw to make contact with the rival Sylvester family. But ordinary undead cannot act exactly like they did in life. They're easily seen through by others. How about this? Lion raised his hand to activate summoning magic. A strange, pitch-black undead crawled out from the ground. Then his body began to transform, finally taking on Kershaw's appearance. Undead cannot recreate personal habits, handwriting, and speech patterns from life. But this one wasn't created from Kershaw's corpse. This is a doppelganger undead I happened to find. He can not only copy others' appearance and memories, but even their abilities. He's called a shapeshifter. It's a monster I discovered during my ancestors' trials. He can copy victims' appearance, memories, and even abilities. This is a very troublesome creature. He likes to disguise himself as lost little girls, luring solitary travelers to ultimately kill them, then devour the victims' companions. A shapeshifter? Just as Leon was thinking, the corpse suddenly opened its eyes, death energy swirling around it. Then suddenly spoke, Lord Welland, you're so kind! Actually leaving your precious servant for your descendants. As death energy continued to overflow, something seemed about to emerge from the corpse. The next second, a black shadow rushed out. Shapeshifters can only transform into targets the necromancer has encountered, and the target's magical power cannot exceed the caster's. If you want him, turn this bastard into your undead. I bet he'll be very useful. I have a feeling you know him. Actually, he was also one of the servants Welland once commanded. Lion pulled out the Book of the Dead, calling to the black shadow before him. Soul of the dead, heed the call of Marbas's heir. Leon von Marbas summons you back to reality. The next second, the shadow transformed into humanoid form, slowly regaining consciousness. Wake up, Crow! After little Marbas's explanation, the shapeshifter finally understood the current situation. At this moment, he suddenly raised both hands to form seals, his body continuously changing, finally transforming into Lion's appearance. The scene returned to the present. After discussion, Sir Pullen felt this method was feasible. Using the shapeshifter to contact the Sylvester family would definitely allow them to gather important intelligence. If I may, could I ask one final question? It's certain that the Sylvester family will gain royal approval and attack us again. Despite such dangerous circumstances, why don't you choose to leave the family? Lion thought for a moment, then spoke. Honestly, I don't know myself. But I have a duty to protect the family. For this, I will defeat everyone who wants to harm us. I won't repeat my father's mistakes. Lion's attitude was very firm, and I won't tolerate their transgressions again and again. Perhaps one day I'll find the reason why we must fight for this land. When Lion was about to sleep, he was told that the enemy had already sent a declaration of war. He quickly opened the letter to read. For a century, the royal family has abandoned its duties, leaving the kingdom's subjects to fend for themselves. The Sylvester family, under Alan's leadership, once again declares war on the Marbas family. If you surrender now, we would be happy to take over everything you have. If you refuse, we will march troops into Marbas territory in 1 month, destroying all obstacles in our path. Duke Alan Sylvester, by order of the king. After reading the letter, Lion wasn't afraid at all. He could even be said to be somewhat excited. However, little Marbas nearby thought Lion had truly gone mad. They have an army of hundreds, not something the current you can handle. Don't worry, we'll get through this. I'll destroy everyone who invades my land. To find countermeasures, Lion came to the streets. It's this tavern. I sense powerful magical fluctuations inside. So Lion ordered Sir Pullen to wait outside, while he and little Marbas went in and gave the command. Don't let anyone enter or leave here. When Lion entered, he found the place dirty and messy. Several staff members were cleaning in the hall, and one of them actually had ears growing on his head. Without doubt, the magical fluctuations little Marbas sensed came from this beastman. Just as Lion was about to approach and question him, a woman came from behind and kicked the beastman in the face. Get out of here. This young master is not someone you can offend. Sorry, young master, welcome to my tavern. Sorry, I'm here for him. Could you please step aside? I have something to discuss with him. According to little Marbas, this beastman has enormous growth potential. Lion must make him a family vassal. Lion approached the beastman, extending his hand to use dark magic, then infiltrated the magic into the beastman's wound. Shockingly, the wound was healing at a visible rate, healing completely in no time. Just as Lion wanted to chat privately with the beastman, the woman beside them spoke again. I'm very sorry, young master. He is my personal slave. You can discuss anything with me. Is that so? Since when are slaves allowed to exist on my territory? Also, you keep calling me young master instead of lord. Are you refusing to acknowledge me as the lord here? I give you 10 minutes to free all your slaves, otherwise death. Lion spoke domineeringly. However, the other party wasn't panicked at all, speaking contemptuously. Young master, are you sure you're ready for what's about to happen? The woman snapped her fingers. The next second, everyone in the tavern surrounded them. Everyone attack, tie up this arrogant brat. Lion immediately activated necromantic magic, summoning his undead warriors. The situation immediately reversed. The surrounding staff all fell. To speed things up, Lion even took action personally. Seeing the scene, the proprietress was terrified. How did that useless little boy become so powerful? Soon, except for the proprietress, everyone was dealt with. How's that? Am I still the useless little boy in your mouth? Lion's tone was ice cold. Soon, I will lead the Marbas family back to glory. Unfortunately, you won't see that day come. The proprietress died with her own screams. Good. Now no one will disturb us. Lion breathed a sigh of relief. Are you willing to help me? I need your talents. May I ask you a question? I'm a pup of the Demon Wolf clan. Since childhood, I've been humiliated and cursed at. Must I spend the rest of my life like this? No more, Lion said to him very firmly. Although I don't know much about your past, from this moment on, you will become my trusted retainer. I promise you, from now on, no one will look down on you. Really? Can I really do it? To prevent the werewolf Walter from being discriminated against by humans, Lion gave him a magic necklace. Wearing it would hide the werewolf's characteristics. For the war 1 month later, they began training day and night. Lion didn't expect Walter to progress so quickly. He could already defeat Leon's undead warriors. Lion couldn't help but praise him. Very good. Now you can become my first knight. Of course, Leon also received special training from Little Marbas. Both sides controlled their respective undead legions in battle. Although these were the weakest undead servants, Lion mastered them proficiently in such a short time, even achieving closed-eye perception of magical flow. Such terrifying talent was unimaginable. Really? Can our contractor become like his ancestor? Crow asked Marbas. The answer was his firm reply. Yes. I believe that in the near future, the continent will once again be swept by a great storm. He might be able to master the forbidden among all dark magic, the terrifying time reversal magic. However, his current strength is not enough to deal with the Sylvester family's army. I have a method that can stimulate your potential in a short time, but this process carries risks. So, what is this miraculous method of yours? Lion was already eager to try. First, you must exhaust all your magical power. After that, your subconscious will be guided. Then you'll know what to do. As Lion expelled the last trace of magical power, his body suddenly fell unconscious, falling straight down. Lord! You mustn't have any problems! Seeing the loudly panicking Serpulin, Little Marbas immediately punched him. Don't disturb this child. Have faith in him. He's the most talented contractor I've ever seen. At this moment, Lion's consciousness was in darkness. As he walked forward, the darkness was instantly dispelled, and before him stood a middle-aged man. Welcome, Leon. I always had a feeling you would come here. Lion was shocked to discover that the man before him was actually his deceased father, Rune von Marbas. Let's walk together. I have many things I want to discuss with you. Rune asked his son Lion with concern. How are you doing now? Lion looked at his father's silhouette, suppressing the longing in his heart, and replied indifferently, I'm doing all right. I have a group of loyal retainers supporting my cause. That's wonderful. Your presence here means you've awakened your dormant magical powers. You've probably already guessed. I'm nothing more than a phantom conjured in your mind. He continued with a helpless expression. The reason I failed was because I lacked the talent. Since childhood, I never earned Master Marbas's recognition, nor did I have the ability to activate the Book of the Dead. Then, as if rekindling hope, he said, But you're different. Your ability to come here proves your talent is sufficient. I once invented a type of magic that can transfer ancestral magical power into your magic reserves. Of course, at first, you'll only be able to access a portion of that power. For ordinary people, absorbing external magic would cause them to lose control. But you're different. You might find it hard to understand now, but you can think of yourself as a blank canvas. Apart from our family, no one else possesses such pure dark magical power. At this point, Rune showed a hint of pride as he continued. You will be granted our family's greatest gift. With those words, the dark magic orb in Father Rune's hand began spinning and absorbing continuously, causing the surrounding buildings to crumble and collapse. All right, let's begin. The next second, Father channeled the dark magical energy from his hand into Lion's body, transforming it into a protective amulet necklace. It's called Greed. As the name suggests, it will ravenously devour everything beneath your feet. Lion, remember what I've told you. Perhaps we'll meet again very soon. Rune gave his heartfelt blessing to his son. I wish you all the best. Farewell, my beloved son. 4 days before the great battle, the Sylvester family had already begun preparing their army. Alan sat coldly atop the high castle walls, rallying the soldiers below, all soldiers of House Sylvester. We have finally reached this crucial moment. The Marbas family, with their century-long glory, is about to vanish into the river of history, and we shall create a new legend. Glory to Sylvester, However, what no one knew was that Kirchhoff, standing among the crowd, was actually Crow in disguise. Soon, Alan led his army and set out. Using the intelligence Crow had provided, they chose a path leading to the cemetery. However, what they didn't expect was to encounter Lion's ambush along the way. Only then did Alan realize what had happened. He drew the sword from his waist and struck at Crow's neck behind him with one swift blow. His head fell straight down, but the dark aura around the severed head grew even more intense. Soon, the head reattached itself to the body. What a novel experience. After saying this, Crow, who had been disguised as Kirchhoff, immediately returned to Lion's side. You will be punished for your arrogance. Young clan leader Marbus. On one side was an army of several hundred, on the other, a massive force of thousands. The surface military strength seemed vastly unequal. However, Lion wasn't panicked at all. Do you really think you can defeat me? After saying this, he unleashed his necromantic magic. A large number of undead warriors were summoned forth. Alan was shocked to witness this scene, as it reminded him of the terrible legends of the continent, of one person single-handedly overturning the entire balance of power across the land. Nothing was more despairing than this. His talent was so profound that people couldn't even stand up to gaze at him in awe. He never imagined that the child before him now possessed such terrifying power. Soon, soldiers from both sides clashed in battle. The enemy soldiers knew clearly, as long as they could take down Lion, these undead would disappear. After all, he was still just a child. No matter how strong his talent, before he fully matured, it was all useless. Just as the Legion commander was about to reach Lion, Walter blocked him just in time. Their swords collided, sparks flying, and the Legion commander roared in fury, "How dare you block my path?" But Walter's resolve was firm. "I'm sorry, I won't let you get near the young master." Soon, the enemy soldiers were completely overwhelmed by the undead warriors. Seeing this, Alan quickly shouted for the mages in the rear to attack. Dozens of mages in the back began chanting spells simultaneously, and massive lightning descended from the sky, instantly destroying two undead warriors. Alan raised his sword with both hands and gave the command, "Vanguard squad, charge forward with me immediately!" With this, the situation instantly reversed. The undead warriors were completely suppressed. Alan was now quite pleased with himself. "You're still too green. A brat like you with such amateur skills isn't enough to face me." He looked at Leon with disdain. "Do you really think you're your family's founding ancestor?" Just as Alan raised his sword to strike, Lion pulled out the Book of the Dead. The eye on the cover continuously emanated death energy. He was now gathering power for release. "Let me show you what true strength looks like." A few days before the war, everyone held their final pre-battle meeting. Lion explained his plan to everyone. The Lion Marbus was somewhat embarrassed. "Honestly, I've heard worse plans in my life, but yours is very risky. Your choice of that place as the battlefield, I completely agree with. But aside from that, it's not guaranteed," Lion replied. "This is already the best plan I could think of." At this moment, Crow interjected, "I will follow all of my master's commands." "Foolish Marbus, what right do you have to command us?" Walter on the side also chimed in. "I also agree with clan leader Lion's plan." Marbus, refuted by everyone, sighed. "Do as you please then." At this time, Lion touched the greed necklace on his chest and asked, "Master Marbus, do you know the consequences of using it?" But Marbus replied casually, "Who knows? Maybe death, perhaps. Your father probably didn't tell you the whole truth. This talisman has a poison-like magical power, and you certainly can't withstand its immense power right now. And no one can guarantee your subjects' absolute loyalty to you." Marbus was somewhat frustrated. As a mortal, you cannot know their true inner thoughts. They might betray you, just as they betrayed your father. What makes you believe these mortals are worth your risk? The scene returns to the present. Lion opened the Book of the Dead, preparing to unleash his ultimate move. The next second, a massive surge of black magical energy emanated from within. "All loyal servants of Marbus wandering in the underworld, heed my command." Alan suddenly felt a terrifying energy, an instinctive warning. He immediately issued orders. "No matter what spectacle we're about to witness, we must stop him at all costs. The rightful heir of the Marbus family summons you here. Take up your weapons and fight." The moment Lion finished his incantation, the ground began to shake. Corpse after corpse crawled out from the underworld, each clad in armor and wielding weapons. Alan watched this scene in horror. Before him was a dense army of undead, and the situation changed instantly. At this moment, Marbus was watching from high on the cliff, a slight smile crossing his face. This brat is just as rule-breaking as his ancestor. As the greed necklace continuously infused magical power, the undead on the battlefield began attacking the enemy. Not only were there immensely strong undead warriors, but also undead mages capable of casting spells. With these undead joining the battle, they instantly eliminated several enemies. Only then did Alan realize he had fallen into the opponent's trap. This was why Lion chose the graveyard as the battlefield. Just as Alan was wondering how to respond, he was shocked to discover that Lion's current state was very wrong. He was even continuously coughing up blood. So Alan immediately shouted to stop him. "Stop now! Otherwise we'll all die. I promise you, you and your people won't be harmed." Earlier, Marbus had asked Lion, "What makes you believe these mortals are worth your risk? Before you fully mature, I suggest you don't do any selfless, foolish things for others." "Master Marbus, but why must we always wait for fruit to ripen before picking it? Wouldn't it be terrible to pick it first and then let it ripen? Lion was very puzzled by this. The scene returns to the battlefield, where the Sylvester family's army had been routed. Now only Alan remained, kneeling on the ground in despair. Why did it turn out this way? He was now near collapse, desperately awaiting Lion's judgment. But he couldn't help pleading. Actually, I don't deserve your mercy, but could you show me mercy just once? I promise you, I'll never oppose the Marbus family again, nor will I reveal your power to anyone. Please, please spare me this once. But Lion's mind was made up. When you killed my father, did you ever think of today's situation? And Alan was still pleading desperately. But you must understand, revenge only creates a cycle of hatred. However, Lion remained unmoved by his words. Alan was very unwilling to end like this. He roared loudly, "You should know, I was also forced into this. As the leader of a noble family, we have the responsibility to take all necessary actions to promote our family's prosperity." Lion pondered, stroking his chin. Responsibility? Sir, what you say makes perfect sense. After all, we bear the heavy responsibility of clan leadership. Yes, exactly. I was pressured by my position to commit such brutal acts. Lion glanced at him coldly. But why should I show you mercy? Sir, don't get it wrong. I have no ill feelings towards you. As he spoke, Lion slowly drew the long sword from his waist. The only reason I'm killing you is that your existence provides no benefit to Marbus. Farewell, clan leader Alan. Now Alan was completely desperate. You bastard! Do you know what you're doing? Someday you'll regret this. Lion's expression remained unchanged as he brought the sword down on Alan's head. He watched coldly as blood splattered before his eyes, and the only sound heard was the falling of raindrops. The surrounding undead warriors also began to slowly dissipate. Due to Leon's life-draining technique, his body had now reached the brink of collapse. The next second, he collapsed straight down. Volter on the side quickly rushed forward to catch Lion. Seeing him like this, Marbus spoke to comfort him. Don't worry, he's just exhausted his magical power. Without doubt, this kid's talent matches his ancestors, Marbus thought. A terrifying power that even I cannot control lies dormant within him. This is a dangerous gamble. I'm betting the future on him. More importantly, some demons have begun interfering with human affairs. This is an ominous sign. When Lion opened his eyes again, he found himself lying on a bed, surrounded by his trusted followers. Volter began reporting the current situation. The Sylvester family is now on the verge of collapse after losing their leader, so they shouldn't trouble us again in the near future. Sir Pullen continued. Under clan leader Lion's leadership, our Marbus family will soon return to glory. But we now face an important problem. His face showed some embarrassment at this point. Though I'm very embarrassed to bring this up, we're now completely penniless. Even worse, we're burdened with massive debts. Sir Pullen lowered his head in shame. This could have been resolved by demanding compensation from the defeated Sylvester family, but the Imperial Court has explicitly forbidden any compensation claims. The three great demon bloodlines, Satyr, Lienhaber, and Marbus, are under strict Imperial control. It's likely the royal family stopped any discussion of compensation to hinder our wealth growth. Lion could only ask helplessly, so how much do we owe? Sir Pullen held up 5 fingers. 50 million gold coins? Lion was already speechless. No. Pullen closed his eyes in despair. Could it be 500 million gold coins? Lion was even more speechless. Also no. Pullen didn't dare open his eyes. It can't be more than 5 billion gold coins, right? That's no small amount. Lion stroked his chin and thought. My lord, please forgive my rudeness, but you're correct. Our debt amounts to 5 billion gold coins. Lion was left speechless and suddenly felt like a beggar. At this time, on the town streets, a man rode up on horseback. He was Richel Flamel, the chief disciple of the famous Mage Tower and founder of the Eremita School. A woman emerged from the corner. We meet again, Master Richel. She was Carleen, leader of the southern branch of the Madmen organization, the continent's largest criminal organization and a ruthless loan shark. Richel asked awkwardly, Miss Carleen, our academy should have paid off all our debts to you, right? Carleen scoffed. Do you think I came all this way for that? This time I'm here for a purpose unrelated to you. Richel was somewhat relieved. Just thinking about the terms of that deal makes my hair stand on end. Since there's no issue, I'll leave first. With that, Richel prepared to ride away. However, Carleen behind him speculated, I have a feeling we're both here for the same person this time. Just as everyone was still worrying about such enormous debt, there was a knock at the door. Sir Pullen quickly went to check, and soon returned to report. My lord, 2 people have come to visit you, a man and a woman. The scene shifts to the reception room. Thank you for your hospitality, my lord. I am Mage Richel, principal of the Eremita School. I am Carleen, leader of the southern branch of the Madmen organization. Welcome, Lion then asked in confusion. May I ask what brings you both here? Carleen smiled and answered, We recently received news of your victory in the noble war. Congratulations, young Marbus clan leader. The spoils of war should be enough to pay off your debts to those madmen, right? Speaking of this topic, Miss Carleen, exactly how much do we owe you? I hear your madmen organization isn't exactly benevolent. Lion began to feel nervous. I've heard you sell people who default on debts to dark wizards as living test subjects. Carleen smiled sweetly. It seems you understand my work well. Then I'll be direct. With that, Carleen pulled out a paper from her clothes. I'm afraid you'll need to pay 10% of the debt immediately this time. For the remaining 90% will allow you to defer payment for a while longer, she added with a menacing glint in her eyes. Also, I should remind you, we charge 30% interest on the principal. I hope you understand. Lion wasn't about to be intimidated. So you're saying we need to pay 500 million gold coins now, and it will increase by 30% interest every year after? He was shocked by such predatory terms. Who would sign such a ridiculous agreement? Sir Pullen couldn't even lift his head, answering helplessly, I'm afraid it was your father who signed it. Just as Lion was exasperated with his father, Rishal on the side spoke up, Let me ease this tense atmosphere. Clan leader Marbus probably needs some time to sort through the spoils of war, and I seriously doubt he has such a large sum on hand. What do you think, Miss Carleen? I'm sorry, Rishal. Can't you see I'm conducting business? I hate it when people interrupt at times like this. Rishal was quite helpless and stood up, walking toward the door. I'll step out first. I'll return after you've finished talking. Just as Lion was about to ask Carleen for an extension, she said seriously, If you want to tell me you're currently short on funds, or ask for more time to raise money, I advise you to think twice because your father has already used all these excuses. Lion whispered to Marbus, Can we eliminate her? Marbus replied helplessly, I advise you to abandon that idea. The current you wouldn't stand a chance against her. It seems we'll have nothing left. Crow was disappointed. Your father did this for the family's survival. Sir Pullen tried to comfort Lion. Be brave, my lord. There's always a way. I believe in your wisdom. Lion sat in silence for a long time, then spoke. Miss Carleen, if possible, I ask that you show us mercy. Everyone could hardly believe their ears. Meanwhile, Rishal, who had gone out for a stroll, stopped in front of a portrait. Coming here was indeed the right choice. Lion Marbas, the youngest heir of this generation, may well recreate your ancestors' glory. Rishal looked pleased. The moment I saw him, I could sense it. An enormous magical power continuously flowing within him. This will be a great blessing for our academy. Rishal smiled. I must find a way to win his favor. Then he gently raised his hand, and a magical shield enveloped him. He then pulled out a communication crystal, which immediately transmitted a voice. Principal, please, don't just leave without saying anything again. When you're not here, the school is in chaos. Rishal could only laugh awkwardly to appease them. All right, I'll be careful next time. Now there's something more important. I want to ask you something. How many gold coins do we have in Aramita's treasury? Hearing this, the old man was immediately speechless. This is your important matter? The scene returns to the reception room. Clan leader Lion, don't joke with me. You might not understand the Madmen organization. We're a group of violent killers. As she spoke, Carleen gathered an energy ball on her finger and directly shattered the teacup in front of Leon. But I assure you, I'm more calculating than you imagine. Seeing the opponent dare to make a move, Walter immediately drew his sword. You dare threaten my lord. Carleen was dismissive. My anger only targets those who default on loans. Think carefully before acting. Don't do something you'll regret. Lion calmly apologized to her. I'm very sorry, Miss Carleen. We have nothing. Hearing this, Carleen's expression instantly turned cold. Lion's voice carried a hint of helplessness. To tell you the truth, our treasury has long been empty. Carleen was momentarily stunned, then sneered. Now I finally understand why you're trembling like a frightened puppy. Allow me to personally demonstrate through action the consequences of defaulting. Just as Carleen was about to act, Rishal suddenly burst through the door. Please wait. Suddenly, everyone in the room looked at him. May I say a few words? Rishal's hand blocked the furious Carleen. Please don't harm my student. This left Lion very confused. When did I become a student of the Aramita school? Walter on the side thought he understood something, so Master Lion had arrangements all along. Now I can rest easy. The furious Carleen, after some thought, gradually calmed down. Lion first had Walter and Sir Pullen step aside, then sat down again for detailed negotiations. As long as Lion agreed to become a student of the Aramita school, they would agree to help pay off 10% of the debt. Rishal spoke confidently based on my speculation. You used necromantic magic in your war against the Sylvester family. Otherwise, you couldn't have won. Then he asked Carleen. Miss Carleen came here thinking the same thing, right? Carleen had a nonchalant attitude, so what? It's not exactly a big secret anyway. Our client, the Marbus family's clan leader, has regained necromantic power. His future development is limitless. Do you really think you can recover the money you lent? Carleen didn't hide her thoughts. Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think my money is here. I never expected to get it all back immediately, which is why I'm asking you to return part of it first. At this point, Lion asked, I have another question. How did you determine I possessed necromantic power? Just because I won the war? Maybe I hired other help? Clan leader Lion, you're quite the joker. Do you think you have money to hire help? Carleen couldn't help but reveal the truth. Rishal continued, I never thought money alone could win a war. So the first thing I thought of was the Marbus family's unique power. If I could reach the level of the founding clan leader, this would be an excellent opportunity to explore the world and become supreme. At this point, Lion asked naively, so I don't have to repay the loan? Hearing this, Carleen's eyes again showed a cold gleam. What do you think? She pulled out a pistol from her chest and pointed it at Leon. No matter who it is, debts owed to me must be repaid. Rishal on the side quickly intervened. Could you let us talk privately? I really want to recruit him to the academy. Then you talk first. Carlene put away her pistol and turned to leave. Her personality is really unpredictable. But at this point, Lion suddenly spoke. Compared to her, I trust you even less. You're not human, are you? Hearing this, Richelle smiled slightly, pointing ahead and saying, Marbas, one of the 72 demons of hell, has been guarding by your side, hasn't he? Hearing this, Marbas was very surprised. Interesting, a mage who can see me without my permission. His fur began to change, and the next second, he returned to his original form. The Richelle across from him also began to transform, finally returning to his true appearance. Marbas was shocked. You're actually a dragon. I thought they all perished in that war. Lion was curious. A dragon? Marbas confirmed. That's right. The feet and tail on a dragon's head are very distinctive, recognizable at a glance. At this point, Richelle spoke. As one of the 72 demons, I'm curious why you're staying with humans. I don't know the exact reason, but it must be related to the founding head of the Marbas family, right? Don't worry, Master Marbas is different from other demons. He's on humanity's side. Richelle explained with a smile. If that weren't the case, I'd have no reason to get involved. Now may I ask a few questions? Leon was very cautious. If I join the Eremita school, what responsibilities would I have? The essence of the Eremita school is to remain hidden, then execute collective decisions, and strive to improve the status of mages. This is your mission. Besides this, you must also do this. At this point, Richelle suddenly became serious. You cannot join any other schools, nor can you carry out their missions. Lion asked him seriously, why is this? Just to prevent other schools from developing? Of course, this is the meaning of our school's existence. But the biggest reason is actually... With that, Richelle pulled out a demon emblem. Besides the Eremita school, there are 2 other famous magic schools. But at least one of them worships demons, and their ultimate goal is to resurrect the Demon King. Richelle calmly recounted some history. Hundreds of years ago, a brutal anti-demon war occurred. The first full-scale conflict between humans and demons. This led to the tragic death of the human monarch, King Solomon. But before King Solomon died, he used his last breath to seal the demon ball. However, the seal's power has been weakening over time, meaning the demons of old could break free at any moment. Richelle's tone carried hidden worry. I've heard that in this anti-demon war, it was simply a massacre for dragons and other species. Lion understood. So you want me to reach an agreement with your school because you've discovered demon marks among hostile forces? Richelle answered honestly, yes. As long as you agree to join us, I'll tell you everything. I believe our sacred academic hall will not only provide you with abundant knowledge, but also bring you some unexpected surprises. At this point, the lion Marbas suddenly said, if only you could provide us with some financial surprises. But Richelle expressed his helplessness. I'm very sorry, we can't provide much help in that regard. Can you provide some channels for earning money? With a 5 billion debt, we might need all the help we can get. Richelle thought for just a moment, and came up with a money-making method. He smiled and said, that would be the Adventurers Guild, and their president is a good friend of Miss Carlene. As long as you complete enough quests, the more you do, the higher the quest prices you can take. Earning 10 million gold coins from a single quest is quite common. Hearing this, Lion finally saw hope of paying off the debt. So Lion immediately pleaded, I sincerely request that you convey my most sincere regards to Miss Carlene. Richelle immediately shouted toward the door, Miss Carlene, you should have heard everything at the door, right? Could you please come in for a proper discussion? Helplessly, Carlene walked in again. Richelle, you're becoming more and more annoying. However, at this moment, Carlene was attracted by the small lion-like Marbas on the table. Richelle quickly introduced her. We have the honor of traveling with a demon who serves Lord Wellen. The scene shifts to everyone heading to the Adventurers Guild together. Carlene asked impatiently, why did you drag me along? Richelle turned to her, shouldn't you serve a 5 billion gold coin client well? At this point, Lion asked curiously, by the way, what kind of organization is the Adventurers Guild? Carlene answered his question, simply put, it's an organization that undertakes high-risk missions. A place where adventurers form their own teams and share the profits equally. Capable people here gain vast wealth and status, while incapable people get nothing, even facing death. Richelle took over. For principled reasons, the Adventurers Guild is established on neutral territory. By earning reputation for themselves, any guild member has the chance to be recruited by surrounding nations as knights or mages. Carlene added, the guild's mercenaries are divided into 5 different ranks: bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and obsidian. Ranked from low to high, with higher ranks representing more power. Lion was eager to try. How does one become an obsidian rank adventurer? Richelle told him. Reaching that level is almost impossible. There are fewer than 10 obsidian rank adventurers on the entire continent, and they earn at least 100 million gold coins for each completed mission. Due to the high price, there are very few wealthy people who can afford them. Soon, everyone arrived at the city where the Adventurers Guild was located. While Carlene was greeting the guards, she turned to Leon. You should first consider whether you can become a bronze rank adventurer. According to imperial law, children your age have great difficulty applying to become adventurers. Before long, they arrived at a tavern, which was the Adventurers Guild's registration office. When they entered the tavern, the patrons who had been laughing and chatting immediately became tense upon seeing Carleen from the Madmen organization. People began whispering, "Isn't that Miss Carleen? Those cat-like eyes of hers definitely can't be wrong. It's her. And the person beside her is Principal Rishel from the Aramita school. What are they doing here?" The arrival of the two caused continuous discussion among the tavern's patrons. Rishel smiled awkwardly. "It seems they don't like us very much." Carleen glanced at him dismissively. "I don't care about such things." At this point, Lion spoke, "By the way, is the person we're looking for really here? It doesn't look like there are any particularly formidable people here." Marbus looked knowing. "You're wrong. Haven't you felt that presence that's been resisting our magical power?" Hearing Marbus's words, Lion immediately began magical detection. "Found her." However, at this moment, a white-haired woman suddenly drew her sword and charged over. In this critical moment, only Carleen in front reacted in time. Just as the white-haired woman placed her sword at Lion's throat, Carleen also aimed her pistol at the opponent's head. This scene shocked everyone present. "You really haven't changed at all. You still like to attack right away, Miss Raleigh." Raleigh turned back to stare coldly at Carleen, her voice carrying no warmth. "I believe I told you not to call my name in front of others." At this point, Lion interjected, "Miss Raleigh, are you the strongest adventurer here?" "Unfortunately, I'm not yet." "Also, did I give you permission to speak?" Raleigh's tone was ice cold. Marbus immediately sensed the opponent's extraordinariness. She might be even more dangerous than Carleen and Rishel. "Hello, I'm Lion Marbus, the current clan leader of Marbus." The scene shifts to them in a meeting room. Raleigh picked up her tea. "I heard that the Marbus clan leader had changed, but I didn't expect it to be such a child." Carleen immediately said, "You don't need to doubt this. I can vouch for it." Raleigh was puzzled. "So why does a noble want to join our shabby adventurers guild? And what's stranger is that he's accompanied by a demon." Just as Leon was about to explain, Carleen spoke first. "This isn't important. What's important is that the Adventurers Guild is open to anyone. You should have no reason to refuse his membership, right?" Rishel on the side also helped. "Please give him a chance." At this point, Raleigh kindly reminded, "This isn't your usual playing house games. This could cost you your life. Don't worry about that. We Marbus are the family closest to death, and Miss Carleen has already explained most things about adventurers to me." At this moment, Liam was actually thinking, if I don't pay off the debt, I might be torn to shreds by Carleen. So Raleigh decided to give Lion a chance. She poured the coffee in her hand onto the table surface. Unexpectedly, the coffee formed regular squares on the table. The next second, the entire room changed. An invisible wall surrounded everyone. While Lion was shocked, Marbus on the side explained, "This is quite advanced teleportation magic, though she's simplified it. She seems to be quite a formidable mage." Row upon row of tall soldier statues were teleported over. Then Raleigh spoke, "This test is simple. Among these replica statues, only the real statue contains magical power. What you need to do is find it within 30 minutes. Raleigh looked coldly at Leon and reminded him, "If you can't do it, you'll go down to meet your family." After hearing this, Leon agreed without hesitation. "Then let's begin." Carleen immediately conjured an hourglass from her hand for timekeeping. Leon walked among the statues, continuously observing them. Raleigh reminded again, "By the way, these statues can move." As soon as she finished speaking, the statues began moving, all attacking Lion. A golem swung its heavy sword. Lion narrowly dodged this strike. Before he could recover, another attack came from behind. Lion quickly ducked to avoid it. Carleen on the side couldn't bear to watch. Rishel also worried, "Miss Raleigh, isn't this a bit excessive? Even an ultimate mage would find such a situation difficult to handle. Though Lion is gifted, he's still just a child. Raleigh shouldn't act recklessly. Trust him. Let's just watch quietly." Marbus silently analyzed the situation before them. Each golem's strength isn't very great, but fighting while searching for the main body is very difficult. The magical concentration is too low, so how will Lion respond? What exactly are you thinking right now? Just as Lion was about to be surrounded and attacked, he quickly jumped up, escaping the golem's encirclement. Then his hands cast magic. Immediately, massive amounts of black magical power surged from his body. "This is new black magic I learned. I'll use you all for practice." Magic. Necromantic arsenal activated. Countless black spears appeared out of thin air, arranged in perfect formation behind Leon. Everyone was stunned by this scene. As Lion swept his hand, all the black spears instantly shot toward the golem group. Upon impact, the golems were completely destroyed, and soon only piles of rubble remained scattered about. Carleen couldn't help but praise, "This child's magical power and control are indeed excellent." But the purpose of this test was to find the golem's main body. "It seems like a failure now." Rishel took over, "Miss Carleen, you're wrong. The test hasn't failed yet. Have you forgotten about his family's unique magic?" Carleen suddenly realized. "You mean?" Lion closed his eyes and began chanting necromantic magic. "I send greetings to the wandering souls in hell. I am the current head of the Marbus family, here to summon your spirit. Come forth, my undead warrior." Immediately, the calm ground began shaking violently. The originally broken golems were reassembling. The two witnessing this scene were extremely shocked. Rishel was even more excited. "I finally see the long-lost necromantic magic." The golem's main body reformed as an undead and stood before everyone again. Carleen praised again. "Though I hate to admit it, I must say he does have great potential. Not only does he possess vast magical power, but he could think of such a method in such a short time. At this point, Raleigh walked over to Leon and asked, "How did you do it?" Leon answered honestly, "Actually, I was gambling, betting on whether the golem was a complete living being. As long as it's alive, I can summon it back from hell. It seems I bet correctly. This is the golem's main body, and there's still plenty of time remaining." Then he asked curiously, "Did I pass the test?" Raleigh immediately smiled. "You are indeed very impressive. Congratulations on passing. For a mage with such high magical power, obviously a bronze badge isn't suitable for you. I'll give you a silver rank badge. Welcome to the Adventurers Guild." However, Lion was concerned about how much money he could earn as a silver rank adventurer. Everyone was helplessly amused by this money-obsessed kid. Raleigh told him, "How much you earn depends on the specific situation. In your case, you should easily earn 3 million. But due to your debt situation, you'll need to become at least a gold rank adventurer." Rishal on the side quickly comforted, but this is already a good start. Raleigh hasn't issued a silver rank badge in many years. At this point, Raleigh interrupted their conversation. "Your first mission will begin tomorrow. You can go rest now." After speaking, she turned toward the golem group that had become rubble. With just a simple wave of her hand, the rubble on the ground began shaking and slowly gathering together. Eventually, the golem group returned to its original state. Walter on the side was amazed to restore them all with just a simple gesture. Truly incredible. The president of this Adventurers Guild is really a monster. After seeing everyone off, Raleigh sat alone in the room recalling the day's events. She originally thought that guy only knew some special black magic, but unexpectedly, he actually found the living golem in the end. You should know that the other golems were all artificial lifeless products, while only those with core structures were naturally existing creatures. Using this characteristic, one can distinguish between artificial and natural. In the end, that guy used necromancy magic to successfully pass the test. Marbus, a necromancer family that had fallen for hundreds of years, has unexpectedly produced another terrifying monster in this era. What concerns me most is his emotionless, unwavering gaze. Lion von Marbus, what kind of person are you exactly? The scene shifts to the next day, as everyone gathers here once again. Raleigh tells Lion, as a silver rank adventurer, "This is your first mission." Lion immediately opens the mission scroll to examine it. Investigate Pope Cadone of the Arden Church that worships the creator goddess, location, Selashi City. Recent rumors claim that Pope Cadone has been engaging in massive corruption in the southern cities. Complete this task and you'll earn 1 million gold coins. Carlene, standing nearby, feels this mission might be too difficult for Leon's first assignment, but Raleigh insists that special talent requires special treatment. It seems there's no room for negotiation, and Lion doesn't mind at all. "I think I can do it." Raleigh then reminds him, "If you give up or fail, you'll be demoted to bronze rank adventurer." Then he turns to Rishal and Carlene saying, "Actually, if you're worried, you can go along to help him." Rishal is delighted to hear this suggestion. However, Carlene can't sit still. "I'm very busy and don't have time to babysit you guys." At this moment, Lion expresses his gratitude for their help. This suddenly makes Carlene feel embarrassed. The scene moves to the church in Selashi City, where 2 nuns are praying devoutly. Not far away, a white-haired man is staring at them. And this person is none other than Pope Cadone of the Arden Church. "Daughter, I'm sorry. The miraculous saint who inherits the blessing of the goddess of creation. And divine power will be one of the 2 daughters. Only one will rise as the sun and the other shall face destruction. The 2 shall become one, and one will die to become 2. 2 major religious systems coexist on this continent. One is the goddess church that worships the creator goddess. Their reverence for the goddess has reached the point of obsession. The other is the demon revival church that worships demons. They are large in scale but have always operated in darkness. Of course, the followers of the goddess church far outnumber those of the demon revival church, and those chosen ones will receive the goddess's blessing and power, and be granted the title of miraculous saint. To solve Lion's first mission as an adventurer, everyone finds a coachman named Gilbert in the tavern. "Are you planning to go to Selashi City? That place isn't very safe right now due to religious influence. Do you have some urgent reason to go there?" Rachel politely responds, "Very sorry, we can't tell you the reason." At this moment, Rachel looks toward Carlene. "It's your turn to step up." Carlene sighs helplessly. "Fine, I got it." She immediately pulls out a large bag of gold coins. "Is this enough? If you're not willing, we'll just have to find someone else." Seeing so many gold coins, Gilbert's eyes light up. He directly hugs the coins to his chest and turns to everyone. "I'll take this job, but you must guarantee my safety." And so, everyone sets off in the carriage. Throughout the journey, Gilbert remains worried, knowing that Selashi City is heading toward destruction due to religious warfare. Although the new cardinal was supposed to assist the Pope, he ultimately failed, because of the lack of divine power, meaning no new miraculous saint has been born yet. If this continues, the goddess's blessing and divine power will completely disappear from this continent. And Lion's mission is to investigate Pope Cadone's corrupt behavior. Marbus contemptuously remarks, "Don't worry, most humans are as easy to deal with as little kids." Hearing this, Rishal objects, "During the hundreds of years you were sealed, humans have become increasingly powerful." Carlene adds, "We can't be careless, especially since this involves the Pope. You know, no one on this continent can be completely unaffected by the goddess's influence. And that miraculous saint with divine power has yet to appear. The problem is, the miraculous saint can only be born from the Pope's bloodline. A more serious issue is that the Pope should only have one daughter, but now he unexpectedly has two, causing chaos throughout the entire church because only one person can inherit the power. And the one who fails to receive the goddess's blessing will ultimately die. No matter how you think about it, this is very strange. During everyone's casual conversation, they unknowingly arrive at their destination, the most magnificent religious city on this continent, Celici City. At this moment, in the castle, Chief Steward Glazer opens a large door. Your Holiness, the adventurers who accepted the commission have arrived. Do you think they can really avoid the royal family's surveillance? Yes, if they're the ones sent, I believe they definitely can. This matter must be kept secret. Everything is to save my daughter. Soon, Glazer goes out to receive the protagonist's group. Rachel asks him, "Are you the one who posted the mission for us to investigate whether the Pope has any improper conduct?" Glazer is pleasantly surprised to see the visitors. "Yes, I didn't expect the principal of the Eremita school to personally come complete this task." Rachel looks slightly embarrassed as he explains, "Very sorry, the one executing this mission isn't me, but the young patriarch of Marbus." Seeing Lion so young, Glazer immediately feels uneasy. Lion quickly takes out his silver badge to prove his capabilities. He cautiously asks, "Before executing the mission, I want to ask you something. Are those two invisible women behind you our enemies?" This question leaves Glazer completely confused, only to see two black shadows slowly materialize behind him. They're actually the Pope's two daughters. Glazer immediately says, "We should find another place to talk." So he had no choice but to bring everyone to the reception hall. When learning that the one accepting this mission was this little kid before them, Glazer was very disappointed. He didn't think Lion could help them. However, Lion caught this emotion immediately and said right away, "Although I don't know if I can complete this mission, you'd better not hide anything from me. I already know this mission was personally commissioned by the Pope. Tell me, what's your real task?" Glazer was shocked that Lion could see through his inner thoughts. Mind reading was a spell that required at least an ultimate mage to cast. For his previous contempt, Glazer immediately bowed his head and apologized to Leon. "Next, I will tell everyone the complete content of this commission." The story begins with the miraculous saint. The miraculous saint who inherits the blessing of the goddess of creation, and divine power will be one of the two daughters. Only one will rise as the sun, and the other shall face destruction. The two shall become one, and one will die to become two. If the prophecy comes true, the Pope absolutely cannot accept such a result. Forgive me for being direct, but if the power is split in half, the ritual will be impossible to complete. If the power is ultimately concentrated in one person, the other will. The Pope was furious about the claim that only one of his two daughters could survive. Just then, 3 uninvited guests arrived. "Greetings, Your Holiness. I am Caliban, Knight Commander of the Empire, here by His Majesty's decree to deliver an imperial edict. In the name of the Imperial Sun Estevan, this order is issued. Under the same sky, there cannot be two suns rising simultaneously. I believe you understand this point. When the two saints come of age, sacrifice one of them. Execute the fallen saint by fire in the name of heresy, and the other will completely absorb the saint's power, ultimately giving birth to a new generation of miraculous saint." Hearing this edict, the Pope was shocked beyond belief. "You mean you want me to burn my own daughter to death?" "Yes, this is His Majesty's decree. Sacrifice the few to serve the many. The edict has been read, so we'll take our leave now." They left the powerless Pope, who collapsed to his knees, his face filled with despair. "Is this the goddess's test for me? First she took away my brother, and now it's my daughter's turn? Why do this to me?" After hearing the backstory, everyone expressed their sympathy. In summary, because the legitimate saint bloodline produced twins, the power was scattered, causing the divine-powered miraculous saint to not appear for over a decade. This mission exists to save these two. I also know this goes against the Emperor's will. At this moment, Lion suddenly interjected, "May I ask the two saints a question privately? Glazer, please step out for a moment." After Glazer left, Lion stood up and looked at the two saints. He suddenly knelt on one knee and asked emotionlessly, "Which of you two thinks you can sacrifice yourself?" This question immediately shocked the little lion nearby. "Lion, what do you mean?" "Because this is the most effective method. It's impossible to avoid the Emperor's eyes and ears. So as the worst-case scenario, we can only sacrifice one of them." "I'll ask the same question again. Does it not matter which one of you sacrifices yourself?" Faced with Lion's repeated questioning, the two saints looked at each other. "Miraculous saint, that's what people call us. But we actually dislike it very much. We don't deserve such a blessing. Before we were even born, demons attacked this place. The entire city became a living hell. Damn bastards. Why does it have to be now? Without the goddess's blessing, how can we deal with these demons?" At that moment, a soldier burst in. "Your Holiness, it's too dangerous here. We must evacuate immediately." Faced with the demon invasion and the destruction of home, Father could only rage helplessly. The scene shifted to Mother Leah stroking her swollen belly, saying, "Our child will become the miraculous saint. But regardless, every role comes with its own responsibilities, and that's what I'm worried about. I'm afraid our child will ultimately be revered as a saint and exploited by them." Seeing this, Mother reached out and grasped Father's arm to comfort him. "Don't worry, this child will be very strong, and I will raise him to be such a person. Let's name the child Paradise, shall we? meaning he can bring paradise-like life to everyone. What do you think? This was our mother's expectation for us. However, on the day she gave birth, because she delivered us twins, ultimately she died from exhaustion. Our beginning was a tragedy, and this tragedy's ending was already written in prophecy at the finish line. We are powerless to change this. This is the fate of us sisters. After the two saints finished their story, both rushed to volunteer as the sacrifice. No, you're stronger than me in every way, and I'm just a flawed person. Only you can fulfill Mother's wishes. Please don't say such things. Faced with this situation, Lion spoke up. Although I've never learned how to make decisions in situations like this, one thing is certain. You're both willing to sacrifice everything for each other, right? If so, that makes things easier. Regardless, saving them is your responsibility. If one of them unfortunately dies, your mission will fail. We must first find a way to save them as much as possible. This won't be easy, but we believe you can do it. Also, please ensure our father's safety. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's just fulfilling his duties as Pope. Understood. Can you tell me your original plan? The execution will take place in 2 days. If there's no other plan before then, I will be the one to sacrifice myself. 2 days? The timing is a bit tight. Next, I'll look for a solution that can fundamentally solve the problem. First, let me examine the marks of the miraculous saint. However, at this moment, the two saints hesitated. The location of the marks is rather embarrassing. Could everyone except Lion and that lady please step out? Carlene, being a fellow woman, immediately understood, and turned to push Rachel out, quickly driving everyone else from the room. A bunch of old perverts, I actually have to personally throw them out myself. At this moment, the two saints looked at each other, and began removing their outer garments, revealing the holy grail marks beneath their skin. Lion and Carlene were immediately drawn to these marks. It's impossible to use magic to transfer energy. And considering the location that others can hardly see, in my opinion, there's only one method. Yes, only by sacrificing one person can the power be unified. As I expected, prophecy and fate are tragic things that ultimately destroy two people's lives. At this moment, Leon felt a long-absent anger welling up inside him. The scene shifted to the day of the execution. Prince Louis of the Empire came to witness in person. I can't wait to see the birth of the miraculous saint with my own eyes. One of the saints will be tied to the stake and burned to death. Honestly, why did he have to have twins? Because of this, we had to wait until they came of age to act. At this moment, not far behind them, Lion was quietly observing the scene. To save those who want to live and kill those who want to die, is such a choice necessarily correct? The little Lion was puzzled by Lion's sudden words. What are you talking about? I saw the twins' true inner choices. Perhaps only someone like me who deals with death can sense it. One desperately wants to live, while the other has completely accepted the fate of death. This is why I'm confused. Whom should I save, or rather, whom should I kill? Louis began his speech. Good morning, everyone. As a prince of the Empire, I've come by His Majesty's command to attend the birth ceremony of the miraculous saint. Tonight, the darkest night will also descend upon everyone, but it will quickly dissipate. We will welcome our new miraculous saint. For this, we will execute the nameless witch by fire. After speaking, he looked at Knight Commander Caliban. Caliban immediately understood and addressed the citizens below. Under the same sky, there cannot be two suns. The same applies to the miraculous saint. But the birth of twins has disrupted the order of the continent. This is clearly a demon's trick. His Majesty executes the fallen saint in the royal name before everyone. Does anyone object? Faced with the prince's sharp gaze, everyone lowered their heads and remained silent. The day before the ceremony, when the prince saw them, he was attracted by the twins' beauty. Such beautiful women. It's such a shame to execute them by fire. If they weren't witches, I'd really want to make you my concubines. Hearing these words, the Pope was furious, but could do nothing, and could only watch helplessly as the prince walked past him provocatively. How pathetic. The Pope's expression was extremely grim. Do we still have hope? Is there still a way to save them? Lion removed his hood and replied, It's almost impossible. The reason I say this is because I want to ask His Holiness something. Perhaps we can manage to save your daughter. The scene shifted to the twin saints standing at the church entrance. Don't cry anymore. It's okay. If one of us must sacrifice herself, I've always felt it should be me. The younger sister was already in tears. What did we do wrong? Is our very birth a sin? It might be so, but even then we must comply. Because prophecy cannot be wrong. It must be fulfilled. This might actually be a good thing. At least we can choose who sacrifices herself, right? Just then, Caliban entered with soldiers to take the witch away. Facing the approaching fate, the older sister showed no resistance. Farewell. May the goddess bless you. The younger sister could do nothing but cry. Sister, I'm sorry. I couldn't be as honest as you. Thank you for dying in my place. At this moment, Lion appeared behind the younger sister and used necromancy on her. The next second, the younger sister collapsed unconscious. Are you sure this is the best method you could think of? Yes, although it's not perfect yet. For me, this is already the best solution I could devise. The scene moved to the execution platform, where the older sister was already tied to the central post. Then a man with a torch approached, and as he lit the execution platform, the fire began to burn fiercely. Finally, the moment of the miraculous saint's birth has arrived. From today on, no one should dare doubt my abilities. Caliban behind him agreed. Who would dare question you, your highness? Only death awaits those who defy the Empire's orders. Soon the fire spread across the entire execution platform, and agonizing screams echoed throughout the square. Leon and his group watched all this quietly, with no intention of intervening. We can't do it this way no matter what. Lion, are you sure this is really okay? If this is how it is, our mission seems neither successful nor failed. Regardless, I just hope you're still alive. I really don't know what it feels like to be a father, and I don't know what kind of person the Pope is. But even so, I hope your daughter can survive. Even if she must die, she should see her with her own eyes. Just this much is enough for me. I don't know, but maybe someday I'll understand this indescribable feeling. This heavy, suffocating emotion pressing on my chest, making it hard to breathe and very unpleasant. The witch now suffering the fire was not the older sister who wanted to die, but the younger sister who desperately wanted to live. Is this my selfish punishment? I'm different from you. I don't have my sister's kindness. I fear death. So I wanted to rely on you, my gentle and kind sister. At this moment, flames had surrounded the younger sister. However, the prince felt the flames weren't intense enough. Pour more oil. Let the flames burn more fiercely. As a bucket of oil was poured, the flames shot up rapidly. Only the younger sister's agonized wailing could be heard in the flames. I'm sorry, sister. It turned out that the day before, Lion had met privately with His Holiness. If you had to choose, one person desperately wants to live, while the other has accepted the fate of death, which one would you save? The Pope was surprised to hear this. Can you really distinguish such things? Yes, though it's hard to believe, please trust me. If you can truly perceive this, I hope to save the child who wants to die. The scene returned to the present, where the Pope and the older sister watched all this unfold from a distance. Tears continuously streamed down her face. I'm sorry, little sister. At this moment, Leon and his group had quietly returned to their carriage. Why is this? Lion's sudden question left the little lion baffled. What are you talking about? Why did he want to save the older sister who sought death? Isn't this natural? Because he hopes the older sister will feel the weight of life. Those who survive must continue living. This is the only way to comfort the departed. So when facing choices, how should one decide? The person who chooses death understands how important this choice is. Not only must they live for themselves, but they must also strive to live for the dead. Those who desperately want to live might never understand this point. A member of my family once said that gratitude easily disappears at some point. It becomes taken for granted, and continued kindness becomes shallow exploitation. This is now an unchangeable fact. The continent needs the birth of the miraculous saint. No matter how capable we are, we cannot oppose the entire empire. Now that the ceremony is complete, the miraculous saint's power should merge. However, at this moment, something unexpected happened. The mark on the saint's chest was still incomplete. What's going on? The power isn't strong enough? The prince approached. This joke has gone too far. Why hasn't the divine power been completed even after executing the witch? You're playing me for a fool. The Pope and the saint were immediately restrained by soldiers. But the Pope didn't know why either. The one burned was truly his daughter. Since you're still not being honest, kill them. Executing the Empire's Pope in public, isn't that inappropriate? Maybe he hid the real saint? So what? Even without the miraculous saint, haven't we managed fine these past dozen years? I won't be swayed by such religion. I'll say it again, kill the Pope. Faced with such a stubborn prince, Caliban was helpless. Don't blame me. You brought this on yourself. The Pope was terrified. The one burned really was my daughter. If so, the miraculous saint's mark should be complete. This is the price of deceiving the prince. He raised his sword and struck down. At this critical moment, a figure blocked the Pope's path. The saint had taken the sword blow for him. Everyone was incredulous at this sight. Why? Why pay such a price for a useless father like me? Father, it's not just for you. If I hadn't truly lived, everything would be meaningless. I've always been searching for the meaning of my life but never found a clear answer. So I always hoped my sister could survive. I once tried to escape from here. Perhaps this is the goddess's punishment for me. At this moment, black energy continuously emanated from the twin sisters' bodies. It seems we got the wrong target for who should be punished.